What's up? I know I'm about to make some people mad with this video, and so be it. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just telling my story, and hopefully I'm able to tell it in a way that is understandable and I'm getting my point across. So you might be wondering, what's the point of this video? I want to share my story, and I want to speak to those of you who are going through something similar so you understand that you're not alone, because bitch, I feel alone. In fact, that's the problem. That's the whole reason for this video is, boy, do I feel alone. Okay, so I just thought that I would tell you some experiences I have had and am currently experiencing now, and let's talk about it. But before we get into that, definitely remember to like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell. Definitely leave a comment below. Like I said, you guys have been really good at helping me out with the algorithm, and I'm getting a lot of views and a lot of subs, and I really love it. I love talking to you guys in the comments. I'm going to be completely upfront and say I can't get to everybody, especially if you're a person who left a really long, thoughtful comment. Do not think that I'm ignoring you. It's just sometimes I'm reading those comments while I'm sitting at the bar and I'm just not completely, you don't want me to answer right then. You want my complete, full, undivided attention, and I want to give it to you. So give me a sec. I hope that I get to it soon. Anyway, so there's a lot of things that have happened recently for me to talk about the video that I am currently talking about. And I don't want this to be a super long video, but just it's a combination of rejection mixed with loneliness, mixed with being unemployed for 4 months, mixed with being single for 4 years, mixed with taking stock of where I've been and where I'm going. Yeah. First off, I would like to say that I am a person who thinks about how I'm single a lot. I think about it all the time. And I know how I feel about it. I don't like it. It's funny because I'm 32. I was talking to another one of my 30-something-year-old friends. She's a little older than me. And I said something about when I have kids. And she was like, "You want kids?" And I realized in that moment it was because she thought that since I was in my 30s and not dating anyone and hadn't been dating anyone the 4 years that she had known me, that just kids just weren't on my radar. And I was like, yeah, I want kids. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry them by the time that they're available to me, but that I would like to have kids, which brings me back to like, why am I single? I was having another conversation with another one of my friends, and she said that she's been going on dates, but everybody that she's been going on dates with has been giving her the ick. It's funny because when she's on dates, she'll like text us like, "Oh no, this isn't going to work out," or she'll send us things that they've sent her, and sometimes it's like petty. In fact, anytime you get the ick, it might be a little petty. In fact, I made a whole video that people did not watch. I don't know why people didn't watch it. I put a lot of work into that. I did research on that and everything. I have screenshots. I thought it was really funny. So check that out if it pleases you. We talk about the icks that people experience, and I'm going to tell you right now, that's not my problem. My problem is not that I get the ick. My problem is I don't even get the date. I don't get there. And I'm going to explain what I mean, because I'm sure the first thing that you probably thought when I said that was, "But you're so pretty." First off, thank you. I also think I'm pretty, but two things can be true. I guess I should tell you a little bit about my dating history. I have dated a total of 2 people in my adult life. I dated one for, I'm gonna say 18 months, and the other for maybe 8 months. So I have around 2 years total dating experience in my entire 32 years of life. And I got my first boyfriend when I was 25 years old. All of this did not feel like it was by choice, and I'll get into that. I gotta stop looking at myself while I'm recording because I'm trying to make sure my hair looks great, and I'm also trying to make sure none of these fucking candles is lighting anything on fire back here. In one of these videos, everybody was like, "Oh my god, that candle's too close to those blinds. I'm so worried that they're gonna burn or catch on fire." They did. They definitely did. Thank you for telling me. I wish I had known that while it was happening, but that's what I keep looking at though. It's not out of vanity. Just trying to make sure ain't nothing catching on fire back here, okay? Because I light a bunch of candles for these things. And if you're wondering why, it's for the ambiance. Duh. But just a brief overview of my dating history. Because my dating history is so brief, like literally, my dating history is literally nothing. I feel like it would be more beneficial to let you know about the history of interest that I had, because that's more robust. I would say for every year of my life, I have had at least one major crush on somebody. There was maybe 1 year of my life where I didn't like anybody. It was like a couple years ago. I'm gonna say it was 2020. Yeah, it had to be 2020. I had just broken up with my last boyfriend and there was nobody. Bitch, there was nobody here. We were in quarantine. I wasn't going into work. But instead of starting from the beginning, I'm gonna actually start from the now. I have an interest in somebody. This person is unavailable. They showed interest in me last year. I'm not gonna lie, it was in a very weird way. And I was not prepared. I was trying to hook them up with my friend, and out of the blue, they showed interest in me instead. And before I could think about whether or not I was interested or not, they had a girlfriend. I don't know. And then nobody else really came along to take my interest away from that person. Prior to that person, I liked someone else. This individual was Asian and told me that he was not interested in black women. And I was just like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about that. Prior to that, there was another person. I don't want to give too many details, honestly, because I don't know who's going to watch this. To be honest, I could honestly spill my guts right here in front of you. But something in the back of my brain is saying, hold back just a little. But I did like someone else. I'm just going to say that they were a bartender. They were also coupled. I liked them for maybe a year, 2 years, between 1 and 2 years. And prior to that was that year where I liked nobody. And then prior to that, I don't know if I'm going to leave this in here because nobody in my family knows this, but I'm bi and I liked a girl. I like men 70%, women 30%. Most of my interest in women is physical. I've never dated a woman. Prior to that, I was in that relationship with the guy that I wasn't really interested in. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like him like that. I liked that he was intelligent. He was very handsome, but the chemistry was just not there. Prior to that, I was in a relationship with someone who used to choke me and throw me around the room. I didn't really like him either. I was with him because he was paying half my rent. It's so funny. I don't even know if I'm gonna get into it because I know a lot of people aren't into astrology. All I'm gonna say is if you look up Venus in Virgo, that's me to a T. So having a partner who is financially stable is really important to me. It's actually a requirement. I think I could be with the most perfect person in the world, but if that fucker ain't got a job, you gotta go. And it's not even about me being taken care of. It's not about somebody spending money on me, but I can't be somebody's sugar mama. And in my most recent relationship, that's what happened. I made a video about that too, about the guy that I dated that was 7 years younger than me. And I said the biggest difference was not in our age, it was in our bank account. And that's because that's what's important to me. That's like a requirement. It's not even one of those things where it's like I can work around it. I can't be with someone who is draining resources from me because, bitch, it's hard enough for me to figure shit out for myself. I can't be figuring shit out for the both of us. But yeah, so there was the guy that was choking me. Prior to him, I really liked this guy. I really thought he was great. He went to a school that was close to my house. I was like 24. You're gonna think this is really sad, but I liked him for a year, and he was also in a relationship, and I waited that shit out because that's how much I liked him. I waited it out because I thought that he was worth it. He also approached me very weird. I didn't know what was going on. I'm gonna say this because it's happened a few times where a guy will approach me in a way without verbalizing what's going on, and I'm too afraid to say something because I don't want to scare him off. But I end up scaring him off because I'm acting weird because he's acting weird. That's happened a couple of times. So in this situation, I liked that guy. I was really only interested in him. He was always with his girlfriend and very much like a good man and stuff. And I was never a homewrecker. I never like was in there trying to talk to him or anything like that. I just used to be around, and you can say it was pathetic because it was, but I used to just be around, and in my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna be here. I'm gonna be cool, and I'm gonna be clearly a fucking pick me, because what the fuck else could I have been doing? That's not the first time that happened either. That's not the last time that happened either. But I said I was gonna make a video about being a pick me, because I did it a lot. I did it a whole lot. Anyway, but yeah, so I was just around, and what ended up happening was one day he just started messaging me and contacting me out of the blue, wanting to hang out and like coming over, and we would hang out, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, did he break up with his girlfriend? I was like, what if him and his girlfriend aren't broken up, but they're like in a weird place? Or what if they're on a break? And I was so afraid to say anything to him because I thought that he was just not, I don't know. But I didn't say anything. What ended up happening was, because we never talked about what we were, we ended up going to a party together. I danced with another guy at that party, and this guy that I had waited for a year for never talked to me again. And that's exactly what happened. Prior to that, I had a crush on a guy for a very long time, for 10 years. I dated other guys in that span. I was a pick-me for another guy. So pretty much that's a lot of my background and what happened. So you might be wondering, how did that turn into me being single for 4 years? Does that mean like I wasn't going on dates, or I wasn't active on the apps? So 2 of those years are kind of hard for me to count because I had COVID. So 2 things happened when I had COVID. First off, I gained a lot of weight from being sick. So currently I am 30 pounds down from the highest weight that I was when I had COVID. So I've lost a lot of weight. I'm gonna tell you right now, that did not matter. I've been heavier than that. I'm not saying it's not a factor. I personally have never experienced weight be a factor in attraction for me in another person. And I've been 175 pounds at my highest, and I've been 130 pounds at my lowest, and I've never seen it be an issue ever. Not to say that's not the case for other people. So my experience in real life is colored by a lot of things, because really what ultimately ended up happening was the type of guys that I used to be attracted to when I was younger started becoming attracted to me as I got older, because I had grown into myself. Unfortunately, these men had not. I had done the work to grow as a person, and the men had not. But the guys that I used to be attracted to, I kind of realized sucked. I wasn't able to have robust conversations with them. I didn't have any chemistry with them. And I think it's funny because a lot of the reason why I grew so much as a person was not because I wanted to. I'm gonna tell you something about me. I really like that a lot of people really seem to like my personality, and they think that I'm very relatable. And I'm gonna tell you this, bitch. It's not because I wanted to be. It's because I had to be. If you saw my videos before, you would know that I was very lonely. I had no friends. And now you know that I was unchosen. I was not chosen by anyone. I'm just gonna say it was like this. When I liked them, they didn't like me. When they liked me, I didn't like them. And it's just as simple as that. I'm trying to like preemptively respond to things that I know I'm gonna get in the comments. Like, people are gonna say, your standards must be too high, or there must be something wrong with you, or you must be lying, or something like that. My standards are average for what they probably should be. For a long time, I thought my standards were too high. And you know why I thought my standards were too high? Because I have to feel attraction for someone in order for me to want to date them. And because I was a narcissist, I thought that every person that I was attracted to, also I used to be a narcissist, I thought that every person I was attracted to was the most beautiful thing walking when I was interested in them. Looking back on some of those people now, first of all, my friends were quick to tell me he died. They were quick to say that, and I would be like, haters. But looking back on some of them, they're average looking men. I thought that I was shooting for the moon, when really, I think I was within my range. I don't know, maybe I wasn't. But that's why for a long time I did think I was shallow. My standards now have definitely shifted, and they haven't shifted in a linear way. It's more like the different sliders have changed. Like, I'm much more flexible on certain things and much more rigid on other things. That's how things have happened. In terms of dating, the last date I went on that I knew was definitely a date was 4 years ago. ago at the beginning of the pandemic. It was a guy from my job, and he took a picture of me while we were at the table without asking for my permission. And the only way I knew that is because he left the flash on, but he had the camera sitting like this, and I could tell. I don't think I was supposed to know. I think it was a black girl fetish. He was white, and he definitely told me a lot of times that he was not usually attracted to black women, but somehow, for some reason, he was attracted to me. I don't know how I felt about that. I don't want to be the first black girl some non-black person's ever dated. I also don't want to date someone who has only dated black women if they're non-black. That definitely gives me the creeps. However, that was the last date that I had been on. Why did it not work out? It didn't work out for a couple of reasons. Namely, I ended up getting sick with COVID. He says that I ghosted him. I don't remember it that way. I remember really liking him and not feeling that reciprocal energy from him back. I don't know. But that was the last person that I dated that I knew that I dated. I guess I technically had a date last year. I'm trying to think of what I consider dates, because there are a lot of dates that I don't really consider date. What's a date? Because I technically had a date 2 nights ago, if I'm considering anytime somebody asked me out a date, but I didn't really consider it a date. And I told the person that I was with, I was like, because I knew the people who worked at the bar that we went to, and I was like, they're gonna think we're on a date. And he was like, and he didn't say anything. And I wasn't trying to fish for, is this a date? I didn't consider it a date because, first off, he told me he has a fiance. I was hanging out with him as a friend, okay, as a neighbor, because he's one of my neighbors, but he ended up saying some things that made me think that maybe he thought it was a date or would have been okay with it being a date, and it made me feel weird. However, the last time I went out with someone solo, and it was like most likely a date because they were definitively single, probably was that guy that I was talking about earlier who I was trying to hook up with my friend, that I said was weird because I was trying to hook him up with my friend, and then it was like he showed interest in me and I wasn't prepared for it. And in fact, I didn't think he was serious because he messaged me after we had all went out as a group, and I just thought he was drunk, and I was just like, this guy. But then he messaged me again a couple days later, and I was really uncomfortable with it because my friend had liked him, but then when I told her he had messaged me when he was drunk, she was really mad, and so she was like out of town, and I didn't really know. I was like, what is my obligation as a friend if a guy that my friend did not date but liked, had interest in, but they didn't date? I don't know, I felt weird about it. But then when we were on the date, the guy got like super drunk. Like, I don't even think he remembered any of the date. That's how drunk he got. But I was willing to overlook that. I still felt weird about my friend liking him because I hadn't gotten her a sign off on it. I didn't even tell her that we had went out again. I felt really uncomfortable with it, but I was like, if he's serious, then we can talk about it. Maybe he just got really drunk because he was nervous. He said he didn't drink that often, like before we even went out. We had 2 gin and tonics, bitch. So clearly he doesn't drink that often. So I was willing to overlook it. He didn't touch me inappropriately or try anything weird with me. So I was willing to give it another shot, but he stopped talking to me forever after that. So I don't know. Maybe he felt, maybe he didn't like the way I handled it, or maybe he just didn't like me, which is what this video is about people not liking me. And I don't know what it is. I watched Beatrice Caruso's video on it. I watched a couple of videos on it, and I wanted to make this video because I specifically wanted to make this video for people who are interested in finding a partner, who've actively been looking for a partner, and they don't know what they're doing wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. First off, I don't get approached in public by non-creepy people. That's number one. And I don't really go out in public. I mean, I will say this. Okay, there are people who have shown interest in me that I would definitely say no to because of clear lack of compatibility with that person, or just like complete uninterest in terms of attraction on my side. I think like for me, it has to be like, am I attracted to this person? Yes or no. Could I become attracted to this person? Yes or no. Am I attracted to this person's personality? It's like this. If a person comes up to me cold, I have to be physically attracted to them first. If I get to know somebody over the course of some time, I can become I'm attracted to them based on their personality. And then I'm willing to have that conversation. But number one, guys that I'm attracted to, why am I holding up my pinky? Number one, guys that I'm attracted to just out in the wild are not attracted to me. If they are, they're not coming up and approaching me. This is where the problem comes in. Because on apps, I do not stand out. I'm aware, and it's fine. It's just the unfortunate circumstance. A picture that I posted on my IG a few days ago says something like, I hate being pretty in the mirror, but not pretty in pictures. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I am. In pictures, I look like a basic bitch. I don't stand out, and I'm aware. And it could be a situation where maybe I just gotta learn my angles. I got chubby cheeks, and chubby cheeks just don't photograph well. In cameras, it's all about the bone structure. That's why everybody's getting the fat taken out of their face with the buccal fat removal thing, because they want to look camera pretty. And I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to look real life pretty, okay? First of all, I like my cheeks. I think they're fine. I'm aware that they're chubby, okay? We can't all have super defined cheekbones, okay? First of all, if I didn't have no cheeks, where are my dimples gonna go? Where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go if I ain't got no cheeks for them to go in? Secondly, in terms of how I feel about my attractiveness, when I look in the mirror, I see a pretty bitch. So I don't know what everybody else is seeing. It's gonna make me sound so arrogant, but I'm fine with my appearance. I've always been fine with my appearance. I don't know if that's just me because I have a moon in Leo. I'm just a very naturally confident person. It's really other people that make me feel ugly. I don't feel ugly in a vacuum, if I'm being completely honest. And it's not people telling me that I'm ugly. People don't say negative things about my appearance. It's more so being overlooked constantly. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why I think it is. I'm interested to see what the men in the comments are gonna say after I say this next spiel that I'm gonna say. So I know my strengths, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. And you're gonna agree, because if you're watching this video, I assume that means you watch my videos, or you've seen my videos before, or you've gotten this far. You clearly like something that I'm saying here. And this is my strength in talking, in the conversation and conversing. This is where I really shine in my one-on-one conversations with people. Even though this is a YouTube video, it might as well be a one-on-one conversation. And I'm aware that the dog is having a nightmare. Sounds like a pig being drowned in a bucket of water. Over there like anyway, but I'm aware that I'm well-spoken, okay? Because that's who I've learned to be, okay? I'm well-versed in a variety of topics. I can talk about almost anything. And I'm also aware of if I'm not versed on something, I still know how to carry a conversation by asking questions and really probing into the other person's knowledge of the conversation, okay? So I don't have issues really when I'm on the date, except for the guy that he was blackout drunk. He doesn't remember having any conversation with me. And that other guy that I was on a date with, that's a whole messy mess, okay? This man just got engaged and texted me saying that he wanted to celebrate his engagement by going to a strip club with me. Okay. Anyway, it's just the type of men I attract. I'm aware that those are my strengths, right? And you have to know your strengths. You got to know what are you good at talking about. I'm a person who I think I can hold a conversation so long as it's not about a pop culture topic or about music or about cars. It's got to be something more philosophical in nature, more broad, okay? Like, I can't tell you anything about exactly anything, but I'm just gonna have to take my word for it. It was part of the reason why people used to always call me weird, and something that I was always made fun of for until I was like maybe 26 years old, and now suddenly it's attractive. But you know who didn't appreciate and value? All those fuckers that turned me down before. Now they're all somebody's baby daddy. You know who didn't learn how to better converse with people, to make sure that when you're talking to people, you're fully alert and you're listening and you're giving the proper responses at the right time? Who didn't learn how to be patient with people when maybe they say the wrong thing, and trying to laugh off things that might have sounded offensive and still giving that person a shot because maybe they just said the wrong thing. Or maybe they're nervous. Yeah, they didn't. They certainly didn't. They stayed the same because apparently what they were doing worked for them. Because apparently other females like that stuff. You know where I definitely don't stand out? On apps where I have to take my own pictures, where I don't know my angles. I'm doing like a struggle smile in all of my pictures, or having to say something funny or clever. Guys always complain about having to go back and forth with people 4 days before you actually meet them in person. I don't know why I said 4 days. Probably because I just watched that Beatrice Caruso video again. I'm gonna link it below. And I'm like, yeah, same. I don't like that shit either. I'm actually a really bad texter. I'm gonna tell you the last time I talked to a guy on an app. It was on Hinge, because people say, Hinge, that's the one that you really want to go to. It was on Hinge. He was Asian, because that's relevant. Also, race is really relevant for me as a black woman. Oof, it's a struggle out here. It's a struggle between trying to figure out who's got a fetish, finding people to take you seriously. And I have a very weird relationship with black men where I don't know if I'm even going to go into it in this video. So I was on Hinge, and I'm stupid. This is my fault. I was being a fucking pick-me again. I didn't realize it until I thought about it after this thing happened. On Hinge, for the type of relationship you're looking for, you could put long-term, open to short. And I was like, I'll put that because I'm open-minded. Who knows? And then the first thing that this guy messages me is, how short-term? And I'm like, I didn't completely write him off immediately as I should have. Instead, what I did was I shit texted him for a week. By that, he would send me a message, and then I would take a day to respond, and then I would apologize for taking so long to respond, and then he'd be like, oh, it's fine, and then I would take another 2 days to respond. I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad. And I think that the truth was probably that the fact that dating on the apps is already really hard and goes against my nature because I can't really shine on there. Having to come up with something clever and funny to write, coupled with the fact that this man had literally opened. This is the first thing he said to me was, how short term? And I never should have replied to that. Or if that's, I don't know, maybe I should have. You see how I'm confused? I don't know. I blame the pick-me gene that I have, apparently, or whatever it is in there. So let me clarify something important that I feel like I need to tell you. If you want to find a partner, there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with not wanting to be lonely, with wanting somebody to share your life with. I hate when I am looking up, in my 30s and I'm single and lonely. And some bitch is telling me, I shouldn't say it like that. Some very helpful woman is telling me, you gotta love yourself and you gotta date yourself. Blah, 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 self-love and self-improvement. Bitch, first of all, I'll have you know, I already love myself. And I know that's not everybody's journey, which is why I'm making this video, because it's my journey. I'm tired of seeing videos of some woman telling me to love myself. I already love myself. Do you know how many baths I take? I don't know why I equate self-love with taking a bath. I know myself. I've put in the work with myself. I've changed a lot about who I am as a person and how I go through life because I was deeply unhappy with myself. Mostly not stemming from romantic issues, stemming from general loneliness, not having friends, having people not like me, always getting fired from jobs, just feeling like I wasn't worth it. Definitely not being picked romantically contributed, definitely 100%. Through that, I have found myself. I love myself. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I'm still growing, and I'll be growing until the day that I leave this planet. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am completely at peace with that, and I love it. I'm ready to have a partner. I'm ready. It's time. When I think about my long-term plans, they have a partner in them. I'm not trying to be one of these single bitches out here that's single for the rest of their life. I have no interest in that. I have a gut instinct that I am meant to find someone. And the reason why I said this video would make some people mad is because I'm sure somebody listened to this video and they probably heard someone who was picky and is probably just not accepting of dating experiences. That's not it. This is when I say that I have been unchosen, and please, if you have similar experiences, I need to hear them. I need to understand what's happening because this can't be normal. I swear, when I see people and they get into groups or they know people or they go about their life and they're meeting people. I see people on dating apps and they're meeting people. I will say I don't have a lot of patience for dating apps. I wasn't always like that. It's just I haven't had really good experiences, or obviously people ghost me just like they ghost everybody else. I've been stood up more than once by somebody that I was supposed to meet where I lived 40 minutes away in the suburbs, and I drove all the way into the city to meet this person, and they stood me up and ghosted me. Never heard from them again. I have only experienced mutual attraction with someone on where I liked them and they liked me. I was interested in them and they were interested in me once. They never became my boyfriend because it just never happened. Nothing ever progressed. I have been in situationships before. I was in a situationship with one guy for like 2 years, and I met him online, and I was very surprised that we even ended up in a situationship. When I say I didn't like him, it was because he was a dick, and frankly, he was a bum. He love bombed me like for the first 3 days, and then he changed, and he never changed back, which means he took his mask off. Is really what happened. Because he was a fucking Pisces. I feel like all my videos just meander. I feel like I've lost the plot of why I wanted to make this video. I think when I originally came up with this video, I really just wanted to pull apart why it seems like it's so hard to find mutual attraction with someone. It feels like it shouldn't be that hard. Like, it really shouldn't be that hard. I don't know why it's so hard when I like someone for them to like me. I'm gonna say this about the people who are interested in me. There's always a very solid reason why I'm not interested in them. But this concludes my video. Let me know what you think below. How do you feel when people tell you that you need to date yourself and that you need to learn self-love? Does that make you feel like... to me, it's like a gut punch. I'm like, bitch, I already love myself. Love myself more than anybody. Definitely gonna love myself more than any man. But I'm horny, okay? A bitch can be two things. A bitch can love herself and be horny at the same time, okay? I know, I live it every day. Anyway, but yes, please share your experiences below. Please share your experiences below. I wanna know, how have you dealt with being unchosen? And what do you do to stay sane? That's what I wanna know. Like, how can I stay sane in all of this? Sorry, I feel like I kept sweeping my hair this way, but it's actually going, you know, matter. But let me know. Don't forget to like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button to see more content like this, and ring the bell so you get notified of when I produce a new video. And I will see you next time. If you're wondering, yes, I get lipstick on my hands when I do that, and I don't like it.